How far into Dianetics and Scientology are you? Are you recently got into it? Have you been studying it a long time? What's your association?
I've been involved in Scientology and Dianetics for about, I should say, Dianetics, for about 2 years. I am a clear. I began my trek through the reactive mind on the streets of Los Angeles, where I was a prostitute, and you know, I was good at it, but there were bad days, maybe more bad days than good days, and I felt like I just needed something. My life wasn't quite on the right track. You know what I'm talking about, Gavin. And I found Dianetics. I read the book. It was a television commercial, and here I am. It's been a really wonderful trip.
It was this volcano, this commercial. We see this commercial a lot with the volcano thing.
It's a good commercial, isn't it?
Yeah,
a friend of mine.
Volcano exploding. It really got my attention. Now, Gavin, how long have you been into Scientology and Dianetics?
Well, I took an interest in 1969, but I really didn't follow up on it until the early 70s, about 73. And I found it to be the answer for every problem I had. At the time, I had a broken marriage and some children who I hadn't seen, and kind of the usual problems that a lot of people go through, a lot of people are going through right now that are watching the show. And I discovered Scientology and Dianetics, and very soon I was able to attain cleardom, and I'm proud to say just recently I have attained total transparency.
You're transparent?
That's pretty good then, huh?
Well, transparency, there's some discussion within the church about the validity, if you'll excuse me, of transparency. It's sort of a renegade sect, the transparents. And,
a lot of the controversy is kind of comes out of the clear fold. They have not yet attained the transparency, so there's some question in their minds, but many of them, maybe even you, David, will attain total transparency, and then you'll be in the transparency fold.
But how can you be more than 100%? That's the point that always stops me in this argument. What is more than perfect? I don't follow you.
When you're a total transparency, you'll understand.
Now, I've been reading your guys', I guess, I don't know, I guess we could call it your Bible, or I guess the Dianetics book. I've been reading it this week, so I could discuss it with you guys on the show, so I'm just kind of new at this, but I think I want to just really quickly kind of explain what the whole thing is, and correct me if I'm wrong here.
Sure.
But this whole Dianetics thing is this whole process of taking people back through kind of this regression kind of process and clearing out these engrams, these nasty little things in a person's what's called the reactive mind, which during periods of time where we've been unconscious or have had physical or emotional pain, these little things get implanted, our senses, things that we hear or see during that time, become embedded into our reactive mind and can affect us in very negative ways in the future at any given point. So this whole Dianetics thing is going back and kind of clearing all that stuff out. And once you're totally cleared, get all that out, then you are clear.
And you're free of your reactive mind, which is the mind, it's the level of the mind that, say, a snake would operate on, a snake that understands fear and hunger. It's that kind of reaction. Once you're free of that, clearing out these engrams, you're into just your upper mind, your ability, you're able to just kind of go with the flow, not silly things don't make you upset. And I think there was an example of that just now, because Gavin was telling us about something that's completely nonsense, and you know, it didn't make me upset where it might have been had I not been a clear.
You used an interesting comparison, the clear being like a snake. We transparencies, we're like soaring eagles. So
a clear, excuse me, you misunderstood, Gavin. A clear is not a snake, you geek. A clear is, pardon me? A clear is, has gotten above the snake level. I think most people, what was your name?
Carla.
See, Carla is a snake. Carla is a snake, but the clears are, you see what I mean, don't you?
So you're saying right now like Carla is like really low?
You know, I don't mean that about you personally, just people generally.
But
are
what about me? I mean, I've read the book. I mean, well, I kind of skimmed it. Does that make me, like, at this point, maybe better than like the average person now?
I think you're an otter. You're an otter. Just a...
Let's take a phone call from our viewers and see what we got out there. Hi.
Hi, it's me, Mabel.
Hi, Mabel.
How's it going tonight, Bill?
Fine. Got a question for us?
Yeah, Gavin, I
Yes.
don't quite understand the concept or the analogy of Scientology and Dianetics. Can you explain it just a little bit more for this horny old gal to understand?
All right, Mabel, thanks for calling. The relationship is the Dianetics was what started the Church of Scientology. L.Ron Hubbard, or L.Ron Hubbard, as his friends call him, came up with the idea of Dianetics and wrote the book back in 1950. And his followers wanted to get together on a regular basis, kind of an encounter group sort of thing for the 50s. So they started getting together, and they considered Dianetics to be a science. And one night at a party, it was just kind of as a joke, they came up with the name Scientology, and it stuck. So that's where the relationship is.
Mm-hmm. Now, Carla, you're Catholic, and I'm just kind of curious if this Scientology stuff, if you think it would meld with your Catholicism.
Well, the way I equate this clearing maybe is what happens during the baptismal process when you're cleared of original sin and start fresh. With us, that begins right after birth. With you, obviously, it takes till you're adulthood, till you reach that point.
Well, see, we go back, we regress back to the time of birth and just have a clean slate where you maybe were just a real sinner, a really snotty little brat till the time you were baptized. And you may have only been a few months old, but you still have that period of time to account for, where we go back, clear back to the womb, and we have a clean slate, a snow white, pure slate from that time until now. So that's another thing that makes us better than you.
And I think an interesting bit of trivia about baptism is that I do some counseling, and we always find that those who have gone through baptism have a whopping engram right in that baptismal period. Mm-hmm. You know, as the water sort of going over in there, going. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's an engram being cemented in there, and it takes years and lots, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to try to erase that engram and get over that baptism.
And how would I begin to do that as a person that doesn't know anything about Scientology?
Well, now that's a good question. For a snake, I think the first thing to do is always read the book Dianetics. Get a hold of a copy of the book and read Lou's words.
You can have Bill's.
Well, that's nice, Gavin.
Thank you, Bill.
And then you and a friend can get together and practice this on each other, or you can take classes, seminars with us.
It might be good to do it with somebody who's a counselor, too. You know, take some training, one-on-one training with
Now, what is this counseling stuff? Anyway, from reading the book, it kind of says that if you read this book, then you could be a counselor, and you could start help clearing people. But, I mean, am I an official counselor now, just from reading that book, or do?
Did you read the entire book and the bibliography and everything?
No.
Okay, well, that answers the question, then you're not a counselor. If you read literally every word in that book and applied it to your life, then possibly you could be good enough to be a clearer and a counselor.
So how much to be a counselor? Because at the otter level, the only people that you would be, able to counsel would be people of the snake level. Do you see what I mean? That's why clears are really considered the counselors, because they have everyone else.
So you guys counsel.
To counsel.
Well, as I mentioned, I'm a total transparency, so I'm the soaring eagle. So there is not one person, there isn't one person on the face of the earth that I am not capable of counseling.
Now let's get into this transparency thing a little bit. Now, what exactly happened to you that made you feel that you went from clear to transparent?
Well, I was able to surpass my instructors who were helping me and my counselors who were helping me attain cleardom. I was able to see that some of those clears still had some faults and still had some reactive minds. And I was able to surpass their level. And so the next thing, of course, was the total transparency. I was able to see all these foibles.
Bill, one thing that can happen to a clear, there is a level of early cleardom that is called pseudo-clarity. Pseudo-clarity has a lot to do with a sense of grandiosity, that you're sort of king of the planet. That's very common in the early stages. And Gavin, frankly, I think you're a whopping case of that.
Well, if you are ever fortunate enough to become a soaring eagle, you'll regret what you've just said. You'll be rather embarrassed.
But you see, the clears don't have to regret. You know, being clear is never having to say you're sorry.
Phone time, hi.
Vanity of vanities, said the preacher.
Was that Charlton Heston? Was he that?
I think Charlton Heston is a Scientologist, I think. In fact, I know that he was one of the first. Let me see this book. I want to talk about me and Lou, L.Ron to Scientologists. We were pals and kind of hung around. Actually, it was about 20 years after he wrote the book, back in the 70s. And we used to hang out and have a good old time. He used to get drunk a lot, and it's kind of funny because when he got drunk, he'd put on his stupid little sailor's cap and pretend he was the skipper from Gilligan's Island. It's kind of funny that's one of the pictures that they used. They caught him when he was drunk.
One of the things that's not known also is that the Captain Tennille, that's the captain's dad. L.Ron Hubbard
I didn't know that.
Captain Tennille's dad.
And as clears, we often get together and get really stoned and wonder what he's looking at in that picture.
What is he?
All kinds of theories about that.
I don't know.
Can I see that for a minute?
Yeah.
I think I can show the viewers. I think what he's looking at, if you look, I think he's looking at a total transparency. He's looking up at a soaring eagle.
Gonna get something on him if he...
Here's your book back.
Oh, I think it's Bill's.
No, he gave it to you.
He gave it to you.
Oh,
Yeah, you can have it.
thanks. Do you find it hard relating to people on the snake level? What I look for in something that gives my life direction is to be able to communicate better with people around me. Seems like it would be really hard if...
Wait a minute, I'm asking the questions. I'm the host. I ask the questions. Go ahead and answer.
Well, it's a little bit hard when there are people who don't see the truth and the line that you can see and that you can follow. And that makes it difficult. On the other hand, part of our training is communication so that we can help people who are stupider than ourselves to become clears.
The reactive mind that's been mentioned is really interesting. When you attain, even lowly clears, when you attain that level, the reactive mind it just cleans out all the things. And I want to give you a demonstration. I'm going to show you right now an example. Can I do that?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Okay. Go ahead. Give me a little slap. Just go ahead.
Did he hit you?
Sure. A little harder. Okay. See now. Now watch what happens when I do that to Bill.
Ah! Oh!
See now, did you notice the difference between his reaction and mine? Mine as a transparency or even a clear, you just, when I hit Bill, he probably thought of the thousands of times that his mother and father and brothers and sisters and cousins slapped him around as a child and perhaps even as an adult, where when I get slapped, I can, anything like that in my mind, I have already erased. So there's no reason to react. So I don't have a reactive mind.
Is it the same way when your hair gets pulled?
Sure. See?
Huh. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Pull his hair.
See? Very good.
Yeah, it doesn't phase a clear, that kind of thing. Because, I know rationally that he doesn't mean anything bad.
I don't see any difference between a clear and transparency. I'm just not...
I think a transparency tastes worse than a clear. Sort of saltier.
Going back to our viewers, hi. Hello.
It is a sore travail that God has given to the sons of men
I
to
think
exercise their...
Richard Burton, isn't that who that is?
Richard Burton is also a clear.
Isn't he
into
dead?
Scientology. Maybe that's like maybe he's a transparency too. Can you come back? Do you go beyond life if you are a transparency?
Well, that brings up the controversy over whether L.Ron Hubbard is really dead or not. I mean, some people say he died a long time ago. Some people say that he built millions of people out of billions of dollars, and he's living somewhere in South America right now. And maybe that's what Richard Burton is doing. Maybe they're living together. You don't know. So maybe
well, bilked is the wrong term. If people,
Rob stole.
I think those are the wrong terms. If people are, you know, stupid enough to be taken advantage of, then, you know, I mean, I hope Lou is down there having the time of his life. There are a lot of stupid people in the world, and somebody needs to take advantage of them. I think that's our job as the sort of superior beings. It's always been true. You know, it's true now. I kind of think that's what Scientology and Dianetics is all about.
Do you guys want any M&Ms? Care for some M&Ms? Can we get some M&Ms? I was just a little bit hungry. Do you have to change your diet at all if you're a Scientologist? What changes do you have to make in your life? What do you do during the course of a day that might be different from me or Carla there? Well, I mean, can you eat M&Ms and stuff? Do you have to change your diet, or is it just this whole thing of it's clearing the mind?
Well, you kind of learn you learn good manners as even as a clear, but as a total transparency, you attain a level of quality and good manners and discretion and dignity that's the normal man doesn't attain in a normal life. Now, I mean, eating M&Ms on a television show in front of viewers, perhaps many of which have gone hungry. Maybe some of the people watching right now are outside on the street looking through into an appliance store, the TV, and so the fact that you're eating in front of them shows your total insensitivity. And anybody that would do that, anybody that would eat in front of people like that, you know, I mean, they're bastards. But being I don't have a reactive mind anymore, it doesn't anger me. I just understand.
You do go on, don't you?
Just think
Wow. Are all transparents so talky?
we're knowledgeable and we like to share our knowledge, so even with snakes.